Okay, hopefully you've had a little think and made some predictions about what this book may or may not be about. Before we start, I'm going to mention that it's by an author or poet, Carol Ann Duffy. So I'm expecting and hoping that we'll find some beautiful and rich vocabulary which we can pick out as we go along. In fact, before I start, let me explain to you the task for today. Today's writing task is we would like you to create a character profile for the main character, Jub. What do you learn about Jub from the first 3 pages of this book? There are 2 templates in the activity sheet today. Choose just one of them to do. You can choose whichever you prefer. The first one gives you some headings to work with, and the second one gives you the same headings, but it's got a few more prompts to get you started. As I'm reading it, try to remember as much information as you can. But if you can't remember some of the detail, then there's a transcript of the excerpt at the bottom of this page. Have a look, read it for yourself, or ask a parent to read it to you. The Lost Happy Endings by Carol Ann Duffy. Jub's job was important and she was very proud of it. Each evening, when dusk was removing the outline of things like a rubber, Jub had to shoulder her big green sack and carry all the happy endings of stories from one end of the forest to the other in time for everybody's bedtime. Once she had reached the edge of the forest, Jub had to climb to the top of a huge old oak tree, still with her sack on her back, and sit on the tallest branch. Then, very carefully, Jub would open the sack and shake out the happy endings into the violet evening air. She was good at this because she had 6 fingers on each small hand. Some of the endings drifted away like breath, and others fluttered upwards like moths fumbling for light. Some looked like fireflies disappearing among the kindling of the leaves and twigs, and some were fireworks, zipping skywards like rockets and flouncing off in a jackpot of sparks high above the forest. When the last ending was out of the sack, Jub would scamper and rustle her way down to the ground and set off homewards through the darkening woods. Sometimes the eyes of owls flashed from the trees like torches and made her jump, or bats skimmed the top of her head like living frisbees, and she squeaked with alarm, but Jub trotted quickly along and was soon home in her own cosy hole. She would sleep quite late the following day. By the time she'd shopped, cooked, laundered, ironed, read a bit of her new book, and perhaps visited a neighbour in another hole, the happy endings had flown back to the forest like homing pigeons, and were hanging from the ancient silver birch, all ready for Jub to collect once again. That is the first 3 pages. Have a look at the templates, have a go. If you want to replay that video, do so, and like I say, if you want to use the transcript at the bottom of the page, do that too. And then check back tomorrow for the next day's learning.